so it's really low barrier to entry.
How did things go from the time you were last on our show to now? Like now you're launching into Canada. What was the feedback like? Or I don't know, you must have gotten some kind of feedback on how things were in the US. Were a lot of the US drivers using it, or?
Oh yeah. So the winter time is a huge time. Like I had about 20% growth over the previous year, which was huge. And so the winter time is like, it just goes through the roof. Right. And so I'm hoping the same thing for Canada in the winter time. And also you have a much longer winter, so it should be very good. Yeah, people love it. It's, you could read the reviews, once in a while you get someone disgruntled, but for the most part that people are really like it. And this was based off my aviation. I'm a pilot, and this was based off my aviation weather app. And that one is all about, did the same thing, but for flying. Yeah. And it was about making what they call a go, no go decision. Like the weather for flying is, much more critical because it's life and death, if you get into bad weather. Yeah. And you can't just pull over easily. You could land somewhere, but you want to plan for all that. And so everything about the app and about Drive Weather is about presenting for informational go, no go decisions. Like, am I safe to go? What do I have to be aware of? And when and where, it helps just to know if 3 hours down the road, there's going to be a storm or rain or snow, or if it's light snow or heavy snow, right? Like it just helps to know that stuff. So then you could just know what to expect and know then it would end in another 2 hours, right? And then you could continue on.
Yeah, and I think that's really the difference between yours and what I've seen of other apps. We've all got like the Weather Network or whatever, but it tells you it's 30% today. I have no idea what that is. Is that 30% in my neighborhood, 30% across the country? I don't know what that is half the time. And so I'm going, well, it looks like it's going to rain today. We just wait and see what happens when it rains. So.
Can you imagine you're in school and you're right, you give the teacher an answer, you say, oh, I'm about 50% on this one, or I think this one's about 30%, right? Like how do they get away with that? And then
I don't know, it's weather. They seem to do that all the time.
I know.
They seem to do that all the time. Okay, so I was intrigued with the vehicle. Now I had a pickup truck. You didn't have a pickup truck. You didn't have a pickup truck, so I've got to.
That's purely the vehicle selection is purely for visual reasons only. So you get the animated screen. It shows a truck or a van or a car or whatever, or a bike.
So it's not going to tell us like a low bridge, let's say.
No, I don't have that capability yet.
Okay. I just wanted to know because I saw the different types there. And I wanted to know what van life was. You got to explain van life because it's one of the vehicle options. And I'm going,
so if you want to get a Sprinter van and customize, this is what they do now. The kids do now. They get these Sprinter vans and they drive across and they live in them and they drive for, across the whole country. And so it's just kind of like this hashtag van life. I threw it in there just for kicks.
All right. Okay. I'm wondering because, well, they do that here again, not as much as the US. I think the US, it's a little more because it's easier to get around. Here you got a border, if you don't have a passport, you can't get more than an hour down the road. So it's pretty new. Okay. I was wondering what that was. And I thought I would put that in there because I'm going, okay, I think I might be into the van. But I've got a pickup truck and I'm not living in it. So.
Yeah, no, they basically tour the whole country and live there, and it's it's just kind of it's almost like a lifestyle now. Yeah. And sometimes they take school buses and they retrofit them. It's pretty cool.
My wife and I thought of doing that years and years ago, probably like 21 years ago. I dragged her to all the motorhome shows. We were going to buy a motorhome, and then we started investigating how much it actually costs to stop at these parks in like Arizona and stuff. And it's the same as having an apartment. Like you're not cheaper on the road. Yeah. I thought it was supposed to be cheaper on the road, but not from what I've seen anyway. So I didn't know about that. Now you had another feature, which I think is cool, called the speed factor. And you had Cannonballer at one end and then me at the other end. That might be somewhere in the middle. So talk about that. I thought that was
so if you're a trucker, and I assume your audience is, the weather when it comes back is based on a car, and it's based on the posted speed limit.
Okay.
So what you want to do is you type in it's like a quick configure button. It's right next to the settings icon, and you can adjust the speed factor. And basically that's just a multiplier that's applied to the time.
Okay.
And so if you got a heavy load, maybe you drag it more over to the right. It's just kind of a tweak to fine tune the weather, because you're not driving at the posted speed limit for a car, right? You're going a little bit less.
All right. And depending on we're all cannonballers here.
Yeah. So, well, if you're a cannonball and you like to drive fast, then you could go the other way, and maybe you need to beat the weather, and you just like to drive fast. I don't know. I don't judge. I just provide the tools.
I used to do that in Kentucky. Whenever I heard that the tornadoes were doing 25 miles per hour, I used to run Kentucky on a steady basis. I made sure I was doing at least 65. I said, I'm out. I don't want to be anywhere near that thing. Now, I noticed you also have, these are some cool features that I think are really cool. You had share buttons. Now, if I share it to Google Maps, because Google Maps is something that I use around here when I'm looking for, now I've got a car, not for truckers, but what will it do? I didn't try.
So it just gives a route. So the app does, my app Drive Weather does not do any directions, because there's plenty of other apps out there that do directions, and especially for truckers, it's a much more complicated thing than using Google Maps, right? You got to deal with bridge heights and I'm sure road weights and the loads and stuff like that. So it would the share button will, you could text the screen to somebody, but also you can send it to Google Maps or Waze if you're on iOS, or I think there's an Apple Maps if you're on iOS.
So it'll integrate with Google Maps, so it'll tell me my route plus the weather. Is that
no? It won't tell you the weather. It'll just tell you the route. So then you could then you can do the directions off Google.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because I don't do any directions.
Oh, no. Okay.
I got my hands
sure what I didn't try that. I wasn't sure what I was going to do if I did. But that's cool. Okay. Now you have another one called Atmosphere Weather. Is that the airplane one? Is that the one more?
No.
Pilots?
The Atmosphere Weather is a general purpose weather app. It's a very unique one. So the aviation one is WX24 Pilot, and that was the first one I did.
Right.
And then from there, I developed these two because basically the Pilot one incorporated both Atmosphere Weather and Drive Weather for aviation.
Okay.
But the Atmosphere Weather is just like a cool interface for weather. It's basically renders the weather around a 24-hour clock, because weather is always associated with time. So it's just a very quick view of the forecast around 24-hour clock.
Very cool. Wow, that's pretty neat. So, this sounds amazing. I've got to say, because I did see the first one, and I think you actually had to send me like, I don't know, an API thing to get in, because you didn't even have it up here now. So
I had to send you a special way of getting
special code. So I was really impressed with this, and I made my wife. I said, download this thing. This is really cool, because she'll go to Quebec by herself once in a while, and it's just good an idea to. We know there's going to be weather along the way, because there always is in certain directions.
Right.
But it's nice to see what's there, and I'm watching it now. I'm going to try this on, I think on Thursday, I'm supposed to try golfing with my son. So I'll see how, accurate it is. I'll see if I can do a test for you. For
sure. Yeah.
See where it goes, but that's pretty neat. So where do you want people to go? You've got the website. I don't know if that's where people should still go.
Yeah, so if you could do a search either on Google, the Google Play Store or the Apple Store, the App Store for just Drive Weather, or if you go to the website, which is driveweatherapp.com, you can go there and you can get there's videos, there's information about it. It'll kind of tell you about it. And there's a very generous free version, so you can test it out.
Yep.
And if you like it, please leave a good review, because there's plenty of disgruntled people who like to do nothing more than leave bad reviews.
I know.
Idiotic stuff.
We got an app. We've gone through 2 apps now. We started one for our radio station, which we started, and I've got another one now that is kind of separate from the radio station, because the radio station only did the radio station. I want to do podcasts and everything else. So I'm working with another one, and it's very hard. People are just like, I got nothing else. Let's leave something bad. Like, I don't understand that mentality, because you won't hear from me again if I don't like you.
Right. I mean, like, it's a free, like, mine's free, and people get like, you got nothing better to do than rip apart an app that's free. I mean, there's even the best apps, the most the biggest companies have apps that crash, right? Like even Apple, like my mail gets screwed up once in a while, right? Like, I mean, it's just part of life. So
it's part of life.